Excellent. Well, you have been here now. This is your last night.
Yes.
And
Dave has wined and dined me.
that was the thing. I always say, just come get here and then I'll work on, I'll give you the whole new visitor package.
Yes.
I'll do my best.
And going forth, if anyone else comes, they can get partially working scooters.
Yeah, if you come and ride the scooters with me, there might be some scratches.
Squeak, squeak.
But they still work and they squeak. Now I can fix the squeaking, I think. But what you said something interesting today, and you were like, I understand, because we talk all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You said that my life is very different from your life, which I think we both kind of already knew that. And you were like, yeah, but I had to see it for myself. I'm curious, you've been here for 4 days. I don't go to restaurants quite as often as when I have guests. When you have, I don't do the visitor package all the time by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, you got a feel. You met my roommates. You got the lay of the land. You kind of see the kind of culture. We've hung out with a bunch of kind of people that are familiar to me. And what's your takeaway of this California thing? You haven't been out here before, so.
Yeah, this is the first time I've been to California. First time as far west as we are.
Yep.
Actually, I can see.
Which you went all the way, so.
From here, I can see the farthest point west.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I come from a bit I have a big family, right? I've got my wife and 5 kids. Where I work, I'm a common person. Like there's family people. Where I go to church, most of the people I'm with, they're family people, and we're in Michigan. There's we're bundled up for the snow, and so when you come out here, you live in a very interesting part of the world.
Yeah, everybody plays outside.
A lot of people playing outside. It's an expensive place to live. I wouldn't be able to live on this street with my family of 5.
Right. Because you wouldn't have roommates coming in contributing to the house.
Yeah. And so I guess what contributes to the thing that's different is that everyone on the street is a certain type of person.
Yeah.
And they're people that I don't come in contact with very often because there's not a single family that I've seen anywhere.
Yeah.
We ride our scooters for miles on these streets. I don't see kids playing. I don't see people on bikes, like kids on bikes.
Right.
You see lots of people on bikes, but it's like people
Adults.
working out to, to be more physically fit.
With their Lance Armstrong bikes.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's very interesting. So, and I think that's one of the things that struck me. Like, I'm not seeing many families.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that one other thing I noticed is there's a lot of wealth and a lot of material things. So you drive by hundreds of houses and it's like Porsche, BMW, any car you can, Teslas, any car you would ever.
There's a Lamborghini
want.
2 doors down in that garage.
Yeah. So there's cars, whatever people's desire is, that's what's sitting out in front of their house.
People's desire here is to flaunt their desires.
Yeah.
So that's what.
So you drive down it and you see, there's a lot of material wealth and a lot of people wanting these things. And so when I see that, it makes me go, you know what? The little things I want, like I'm not interested in a Ferrari, but the little things that I do want, it makes me go, oh, it doesn't really matter, right? Like I see, when it's exaggerated, the people that live on the ocean, the people that are driving the Lamborghini, I go, oh, I feel bad for you. You don't realize you don't need that.
Right.
And then I put it on myself, and you say, but you don't need the things you want either. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like it puts things, it's a strange experience, but it put things in context for me that it's like, oh, I think
Family, friends. God.
there are things that have meaning.
Yeah.
And then there's things that don't really have as much meaning. And I would like to focus on the things that have meaning.
We did concede that scooters had some
meaning. Scooters have meaning if you live in the right place. No, those were such a blast.
Yeah,
I mean, if I continued to live here, I might not live through it, but they're a lot of fun. Yeah. I would probably going forth, I'd invest in gloves.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten a little beat up.
Knee pads.
Maybe knee pads, but although the goal would be not to need that, but a helmet. Helmet seems like I never hit my head at all, but it seems like that's potentially an inevitable reality.
Well, I think it's the law. That's why we wore them.
Of course we did. We wore helmets.
I'm just kidding. It's not the law.
It's not?
It might be, but
do motorcyclists have to wear a helmet?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
Michigan, you don't need to wear a helmet.
It's not really the law. I mean, if it's the law, I think it's the law. You have to wear a bike helmet.
Oh, okay.
But did you see anybody with a bike helmet going up and down the boardwalk? No one's wearing a bike helmet.
No,
except the kids that we didn't see.
The children.
There's a couple
out there. They were They were not snowboarding.
Yeah,
surfboarding.
There was some kids at the beach.
Yes,
because there's some families that go to the beach.
Yeah, but they're probably here on vacation from Michigan.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that you were like, "Wow, your life is so different." So I was like, "Yeah, well, I mean, culturally, it looks different, obviously, and my lifestyle is probably different because it's like, yeah, I'm still living like a 22-year-old, except I've got abilities."
Yes,
I'm not in a tiny apartment, yelling at my roommates for eating my last piece of pizza because I don't have any more food.
Yeah.
It's like
you're turning down pizza.
I'm turning down pizza for better pizza.
Because you're like, that is peasant's pizza.
Yeah, come on. Nice. Yeah, like you poor people eat. As if we want pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any king crab legs?
Well, then call me.
Yeah, whatever. Throw it away. No, I like pizza. But, okay. I was just curious. I thought it was fascinating. Have you enjoyed yourself? You have to say yes, obviously, because I put you on the spot. That's not a fair question. But
I have enjoyed. It's really nice to experience the warm weather.
Okay.
I've enjoyed hanging out with you, and riding the scooter has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The scooter, I think, might have a difference of opinion. Both of them.
Yeah.
For which I've
had a blast having you here. I love having friends come over. That's so rare for me.
It's been good for me. I've gone down to the beach and read, and
yep.
I've taken some time to recenter myself a little bit.
It's so nice to wake up in the morning here, right?
Yes. It just takes a 6-foot jump. No.
Yeah. You got to dismount off the bunk bed, but there's
the landing.
You wake up at 8:00 in the morning and you just feel great, and you don't even realize that where you came from, you've just slept until 11.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's great while you're here.
Yes.
Tomorrow
is going to be a little tough.
You are going to be so ticked off because it's going to be like, I don't know, what time do you have to wake up?
I have to wake up at 6:30. Well, yeah, I have to wake up at 6:30 on Monday.
Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow you're leaving. Tomorrow morning.
I'm going to leave.
That's your travel day. And then
when Monday arrives, I have to wake up at 6:30, but it's going to feel like 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah. And also it's like, well, just go to bed earlier. No, because when it's midnight, you're going to be trying to go to sleep, and it's going to feel like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't go to sleep by 9. But if you don't.
Well, the trick is we just go to bed at 9 p.m. each night that I've been here. Oh, wait, we haven't done that.
We forgot that. Well, maybe we'll be up late tonight and because we can't go to bed early.
There you go.
What are the odds we can go to bed early on the last night? Well, thank you so much for coming.
It's been fun because it's like we've been like in high school when we were in bunk beds in high school when we were talking about, you know,
the sleepover
girls and all the things of life. It was very reminiscent of that.
That's true. Okay. So Romans 14, I believe we're in.
Yes. Romans 14:10 through 13. So why do you condemn one another? I'm sorry. Romans 14:10 through 13. So why do you condemn another believer? Why do you look down on another believer? Remember, we will all stand before the judgment seat of God. For the scriptures say, "As surely as I live, says the Lord, every knee will bend to me. Every tongue will declare allegiance to God." Yes, each of us will give a personal account to God. So let's stop condemning each other. Decide instead to live in such a way that you will not cause another believer to stumble and fall. And that's Romans 14:10 through 13.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we're still on this theme of this. This is really a much better passage than for not judging than the idea of, well, judge not or you'll be judged kind of thing. Like this, you know, Paul's really talking about stop looking at your neighbor and condemning him because it's not going to be productive for the other believer unless you're encouraging him and unless you're involved in their life. You know, it's not profitable. Why do you look down on another believer? Remember, we're all going to stand. It's kind of like, look, we're all going to get to that place. So
we're all going to experience judgment.
Every single one of us is going to get to the end and give an account.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Why make it harder on somebody else? Like, realize that you're both in the same situation and you're both trying to get to the same destination unscathed.
Yeah. And so focus on yourself, basically. Decide instead to live in such a way that you will not cause another believer to stumble and fall. So focus on your own and don't cause other people to stumble.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, it's almost like the not necessarily focus on yourself. It's like focus on them. But the way you focus on somebody else is not by condemning them.
Yeah.
The way you focus on, the way you can best serve someone else is to live in such a way and speak to them in such a way that they won't stumble and fall. So I think of two things. If you go and you're attacking somebody, the natural response is going to be for them to counter.
Yeah.
If I criticize you, defensive is a knee-jerk reaction. And the other thing is, well, how am I living? So that if they were to look at me, are they seeing a consistent message matched with a consistent life? Mm-hmm. Or are they seeing somebody who doesn't really believe what he says because all of his choices and lifestyle doesn't match?
Yeah. Yeah. And that if we're building someone up, that's going to be more productive. You're encouraging, not condemning them.
Yeah. And we have all been forgiven a great debt.
Yes.
So it's pretty presumptuous if you're looking at another believer and actually condemning them as if they're worse than you because you're forgetting who you were. maybe in that case.
Yeah. And that gets back to what we were talking about. Like we have this perception of ourselves that's real. And we all know that we've failed. Although I feel like a lot of people will lose sight of that when they're looking at other people. Like if they really think about it, they're like, yes, I am a failure. I'm the chief among singers.
Yep.
Right. But then on a day-to-day basis, you see other people and you're like,
These people are
they're
shipwrecks.
totally screwing up. And then in a way that I don't screw up.
Yep.
And so you want to go into that like sort of more self-righteous and say, hey, you shouldn't be doing that.
I've screwed up, but I haven't screwed up in that exact same way.
Yes.
So they suck for that.
Does it seem like there's a whole Christian YouTube group that like this is their shtick, is just finding other people and sort of condemn. Have you noticed that?
That's a thing. Like if somebody is preaching like Todd White, and it's like, well, he doesn't have the gospel exactly right, and he's bleeding into prosperity gospel, and it's like the Bethel and all this.
Yeah, there's a lot of
everything's bad about Bethel, and then everything's bad about what Joel Osteen. It's like, well, it's not the real gospel, and it's kind of tough because I actually listen to some of those, or I have listened to some of those YouTuber folks, and I don't necessarily think they're technically wrong.
Possibly not in a lot of cases.
Yeah, like for instance, who's that one guy from Michigan? Todd Bell, or not Todd Bell, Rob Bell, right? Everybody jumped on that guy. And there was the guy who wrote The Shack. People are so ticked off about The Shack. Dude, I don't know what's the problem. You know, somebody who really took time to study the word and everything will, I'm sure, tell me. But I saw the guy who wrote The Shack give his personal testimony, and it brought me to tears. And in my lifetime, that doesn't happen very often when I'm listening to someone's testimony, but sometimes it does.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I could tell you probably the 4 or 5 times it's happened. He had a very authentic testimony. And he wrote The Shack for his kids because his wife told him to do it. And what happened was he wrote this thing for his children, and it was his best, very artistic idea to explain to his children, who were young at the time, what that conversion was like. Because he knew his kids would grow up and not know the old him before he became a Christian. And his wife was like, what if you pass away or something like that? Do something like this for your kids because you like writing. So he did. And then he gave it to a couple of his friends because he thought they might like it.
Yeah.
His friends were he found out, he didn't even know this, because they gave him back his transcript. He made like 5 of these, that he made it like, photocopies. And he had like 2 or 3 out there. And what his friends had done, they were going to like FedEx, Kinko's.
Yeah.
And they were photocopying it, and they gave him back his transcript, and it was getting passed around and getting multiplied through people just printing it themselves because they really liked it.
Yeah.
Now, you can get into the theology and say, well, this analogy doesn't work, but it's like an allegory. So people don't like it because they can parse out the allegory or whatever. But, from his perspective, he goes, we didn't ever, the book company called him because somebody had submitted it to them, and they said, we want to print this. And he said, okay. And then it printed 1 million copies. He's like, I didn't know I wasn't an author.
Yeah.
He goes, I didn't set out to write a book. This was a gift my wife talked me into doing for my kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was so cool.
Yeah. And I've never read it. I
didn't hear anything bad. I loved it. And then I didn't hear anything bad about it. But recently I've seen a couple things, and every Christian I know pans it. And I'm like, that's too bad, because
probably if you saw it as a theologically accurate book, you'd have a problem with it. But that wasn't his intent.
Maybe I read it. I didn't have a problem with it, but I probably read it more for like entertainment. Also, I probably wasn't like super close with the Lord at the time, so it was like I just thought it was a good book.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've never read it. But yeah. So
God's a female in that the representation of God is a female.
Gotcha.
And so people got upset with that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But you're right. People do pan things. And it's kind of like, well, even if you're correct, I don't know that people walk away being really encouraged and feeling like, what do you do with that? This person over here is screwing up, everyone. All right. Now what do I take home from that?
yeah.
The focus is on that guy instead of God.
Yeah. So, I mean, outside of making mention of the people that do that, I think it'd be my goal to never like tear down other believers in this way, especially on our show, to the extent I can.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good goal for me. So
I never want to criticize another believer. And that is why Jordan sucks so hard, because he does that all the time. I'm kidding. He doesn't do that.
Jordan is such a good guy. I can't believe you can even joke like that.
Well,
This guy, I have to go out to make a call to my wife. We're at dinner, and Jordan, even though the waitress came and took everyone to their seats, he waited for me at the door.
Yeah.
Until my phone call was done. And then when I came in, I'm like, where'd everyone go? He's like, oh, they went to the seats. And I said, and you waited for me? And he's like, well, yeah. Like, that was the expectation. Now, here I am, a grown adult. I can find my way to the seat.
Yeah.
But I really appreciated that he did that.
And it was his birthday dinner.
Yes.
He was the guest of honor that day because it was his dinner. But you remember a couple days ago, we did the fruits of the Spirit, or the gifts of the Spirit.
Yep.
What is it called? Is it the gifts of the Spirit?
Well, those
Spiritual
were
gifts. Spiritual gifts. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And I put him as kindness because I was like, I've never seen him do an unkind or mean thing.
Jordan's such a great guy.
He'll be the last person to be criticized.
There was something else he did, and I was like, man, good guy. I forget what it was, but
I think you might be thinking of me.
No, it definitely wasn't you.
I wasn't sure.
It was Jordan.
It was that nondescript act I thought maybe I could get credit for.
You let me borrow your scooter. That was nice.
Yeah. I'm a great guy.
Great guy.
All glory to God for making me such a wonderful person.
It's your spiritual gift.
Oh, that's good. Dun, 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 dun.